A very good afternoon to one and all. This is Sai Shubham Prakash Pathak, and on behalf of Sayok College of Management Studies, today I would like to welcome you all. In the webinar organized by Department of IT on recent trends and practices in IT. And I would also like to welcome and introduce our today's speaker, Mr. Karan Rai. He has over more than 7 years of experience as senior software engineer. He has worked with multinational firms and is currently working with Morgan Stanley. So without any further delay, I would request Karan sir to start the session. Over to you, sir.
Hello, is my voice audible? Hello, is my voice audible?
Karan, sir, you are audible.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks a lot. Hi, thanks Shubham for the intro. Before we start the session, let me just give you a brief about myself from my side as well. Good afternoon, everyone. I have been working with Morgan Stanley currently. I have close to 6.5 years of experience. I have been working with Morgan Stanley since the past 1 year. Before this, I was working as with BNP Paribas. What are basically BNP Paribas and Morgan Stanley is that they are investment banks, all right, and investment banks where they want to develop their own software. Okay, so every organization has its own software section, so software department, which tries to develop the software. And I, for the past 6.5 years, have been working as a full stack developer. Full stack developer in the sense I've been working on. So a full stack developer is a person who basically works on the UI, okay, who works on the like UI technologies like you can say Angular, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, so on and so forth. And on the backend side, we basically work on Java, all right. And I also work on the database side. So pretty much technically, I work from front to the back, all the technologies. All right. Uh, During the course of the session, just in case if my voice is not audible, please let me know so that I'll try to fix my audio issues. Okay. So why are we here, by the way? So we are here to understand something about IT. I hope you and I see that there are a lot of people who are from the IT background over here, in the sense people who are pursuing their BSc in IT or BSc in computers or masters MCA in whatever it is. Eventually, you will be working in the IT sector, right? So it makes sense that you try to understand what is currently going in the IT sector. All right. So which is why we are in the session. And I hope that probably by the end of the session, you'll have a bit somewhat of an idea what basically happens within an IT organization and what are the different processes or what are the different trends that are currently going in the IT sector. Okay. So let me just share my screen. Uh, just let me know if my screen is audible, screen is visible. Okay. Can you guys see my screen? One second. Okay. I see something in the chat. One second. Let me just check. Okay, fine. So it is visible, right? Okay. So let's start. Okay. So the first topic, I guess people are from the IT background, so they have a little bit of an idea. Okay. So about what happens in the IT. So I will first try to refresh few things that you might be already aware or you might have already read about in your curriculum. Okay, so the first 10 minutes is basically very light topic where you will try to relate that, okay, I have learned this in my curriculum. Okay, so this is how it happens in the actual IT organization. Okay, So let's start with the very basic topic. If I can go forward, the first topic is how IT organizations work. Okay. So what is the working model of an IT organization is what we are going to check. All right. So if I can move to the second slide, I think I moved a bit ahead. Hmm. All right. So let's talk about the first slide. So basically how applications are developed in any IT setup. I think you have already come across this slide or these concepts, waterfall model and agile model. All right. Anyone in the audience who can give me a small idea about what you know about waterfall model or what you know about agile model? Because I think this is something you have already, like read in your curriculum. If not, then probably I can, any which ways I'm going to explain. It can be a right answer, it can be a wrong answer, but that's fine for me because any which ways here we are trying to learn stuff, right? So anyone in the audience, you can probably explain or give me an idea. What do you think? What do you think about waterfall model, or what do you know about waterfall model or agile model? Anyways, anyone? Okay, I see some chats coming. Breakdown of project activities into linear sequential phases where each phase depends on the deliverables of the previous one and corresponds to the specialization of the task. Okay, it was quite a Google answer for me because even I didn't understand what I mean. I understand, okay, there are phases. Yes, there are phases over here, but let me try to simplify things. All right. Uh, so uh, let's talk about your college. Okay. Your college will have a website, right? So let me just go to your college website if I can. All right. So here is your college website. Okay. So every college has its own website, and your college is also having a website. Let's say let's say it wasn't there, and you go to some you come to me and you say that you want to develop your college website. All right. So now I am first going to ask you, what is your requirement in the sense, what do you expect from me? What do you expect in your college website? How should your college website look? Okay. What should be the front page of your college application? All right. What are the different features that are available in your college application? So I am going to ask you all the I'm basically going to check with you all the requirements. All right. So now once I have the requirements, okay, then I will basically create a document where I can try to well, I will try to document each and every requirement that you have mentioned. Now, why am I making this document? Because tomorrow I need a proof that these are the features that you had requested for. So let's say you would have requested for the different types of courses available in the college. So you want a drop down. Okay. You want a front page where you have the logo and the college mission. Okay. So you are asking all these features from me. So I need to have a proof that you have only requested for these features. And I also am giving a proof that I am going to deliver all these features. Okay. So first is your requirement phase, which you are already aware. Now what happens is, now you go and now what I will do is I will go and try to develop the application. Okay. So it can be anything. So let's say if it's a normal website, so it's only a UI technology, I need to just create a UI website. Let's say you want some features like, I want to add the online admission process to the website. So that will require some more server side. So I will, depending on how much time it will take, I will do the requirement and give you an estimation that, okay, it will take me 5 months or 6 months to deliver the project. Okay. Now I go and I try to develop the application. So first was a requirement phase, second was a development phase. Okay. And then once I've developed the application, I will have a tester. Okay. So right now I'm trying to mention the different type of people who are working in an IT organization. Okay. First is someone who will gather the requirements. Second is someone who's going to develop your application. Let's say I am the developer. Then what is going to happen is the third person who is going to test your application. So he will check, okay, this was the document, requirement document, and these are the features available, okay, on the website. So are these features working fine? Are they working well? Okay, are all the features as expected in the document delivered? All these things are going to be tested by the tester. Okay, so you have something called as a testing department. Now once the testing is done, then I am going to probably, take a public domain, and I'm going to put it up on a server, and that is how you will be able to see the website. Okay, so these are all the phases that are available in the waterfall model. All right, one second, just let me. Okay, with the waterfall model. So now I want to, so this is the proper process. This was being implemented. This is still being implemented in some IT organizations. Let's say if you go to TCS in the future, okay, or let's say you go to Capgemini or Tech Mahindra, this is a model that is still being followed. Okay, so this model is fine. In fact, you have also worked on this model. If you are from a final year, if you are a final year student, okay, so you must have definitely worked on this model. Let's say what happens in your final year project. See, what will happen is you will first choose a topic, okay, then you will do the documentation. For entire semester you're going to do the documentation. Okay, why are you doing the documentation? Because requirement is requirement analysis. Okay, then you design the application, and then you try to implement the application. Now what is the problem with this approach? Any idea what is the problem with this approach, or any disadvantages that you can think of in this approach? Don't go by the slide. Okay, this is just for my reference. All right, we cannot go back in this approach. Very true. Okay, think about it. You were working on your final year project. All right, and what happened was you did the documentation. Okay, and then in your next semester, okay, you are going to design it. How many times has it happened that you try to develop the application, and that is when you realize, oh, ye to nahi ho sakta, this is difficult to implement, I did not think about this. This happens, right? And how many times are you very sure that you have done the proper requirement analysis? Quite many a times this is the case, right? Yeah, exactly, it takes too much time, right? So when you think about the normal time taken to, develop using a waterfall model, requirement analysis, let's say if I want to design a website, I will gather all the requirements, so it will take 1 month. Then I try to develop, let's say I'm only developing your application, it will take 2 to 3 months. Then testing will take 1 month. Okay, and then for finally I give you a demo that this is the software that I have developed, or this is the website that I have developed. Okay, so it takes close to 6 months to deliver just your college website. All right, now come back to IT organizations and come back to big applications. For your website it took me 6 months. Okay, imagine for organizations, they work in a team, and let me give you an estimation, even if they work in a team, it still takes them 1.5 year. Okay, imagine the amount of time taken using a soft waterfall model. Okay, now let's go back. Now let's think about it. It took me 1 year to develop an application, or let's say it took me 6 months to develop the application. Okay, initially you said that you want this logo and you want this mission. Okay, and you want these options. After 6 months, can you guarantee me this is exactly what you want? Maybe you will want some improvement. Okay, so can I go back and develop and make improvements? It is not possible. I cannot go back. If I go back again, it is going to take a lot of time, because I'm going to ask you what you want, then I'm going to develop what you want, and then I'm going to test what you want, and then I'm again going to give you a demo. Okay, so basically, because of the time taking, okay, this is a very slow process. Okay, so which is why initially software IT organizations used to adopt this model, but then over a period of time, People realize it is a very long process, and generally requirements keep on changing. At the same time, people have more and more requirements keep on changing. At the same time, people keep on asking for more features. Okay, so that was the problem. So how do we fix this issue? Okay, so there was a new model that was approached. There was a new model that was developed. Let me go back. So this model was called as the agile model. Now, what happens in the agile model? Okay, so in the agile model, what happens is, let me go back to the website. All right, I say, okay, I am not going to spend time on requirement analysis. Okay, I am going to ask you, what is the basic feature that you definitely want? Okay, so I'm going to ask you this. So I'm going to ask you, what is your MVP, or what is your minimum viable product? Or basically, in short, what is the basic feature that you expect from the application? All right. So let's say the you as a college website user says that at least I want to see the front page. Okay. So I will only ask you about the front page. What all features you expect from the front page? All right. And I'm going to go back. I am going to design and develop your front page only. Okay. I'm only going to design your front page. I will do the basic testing. Okay. And I will give you a demo. Okay. So this is the front page that you have developed. I have developed. How is it? So you will say, okay, I want this and this change, or this looks good. So do you see the user is actively involved in the development process? Because every time I am basically creating a small feature, okay, and I'm giving him the feature. Okay, this is the feature. Please check and let me know if you like it. So he will say, okay, this is a good feature. We can move on. So let's say if he says that if he gives some minor changes, I will work on the minor change, and then I will ask him, what is the next most important feature you want? So he will say, I want to display all the courses in the college. So I'll say, fine. So basically you want a drop down. So I go back, design the drop down. Okay. And I give him the drop down as a demo. So basically I am working in iterations in a agile model. And in every iteration, I am delivering something to the user. And every time the user is given something, he will give his feedback. So in an agile model, the user is a very active participant in the development process, because every time he's taken the feedback. Now think about it. How easy is it to go back to this process? Because every time I'm only delivering a small feature, okay, not the entire application. I did not ask the requirement for the entire application. I asked him a small feature and what he wants in the small feature, and I'm developing the small feature and giving him the small feature. Okay, so this is basically agile model, where you're developing small features, and then you're giving it as a demo. All right. So that is basically about agile model. You are working in phases, and in every phase, you are giving or developing small things and giving the demo. According to the demo, you are getting the feedback from the user, and based on that, you are making small changes. So imagine the waterfall model, where model where you are getting every feature within a month. Okay, I can see how this website is being developed. And at any phase, I can always, say that this website is, you can say, okay, I can give any type of feedback that I want. All right. So that is about the basic things that you already know. Okay. And I just wanted to pressure, because in the further topics, this will be required. For now, any questions that you have as of now, please let me know. I'll just give a brief pause, because before I move to any other topic, I just want to ask if you have any doubts over here right now. If no doubts, then we can move forward. Let me check the charts. Okay, no questions. By the way, my audio is, my voice is clear, right? Or is it like lagging a bit? Okay, cool. So I'll move forward. Any questions as of now? Okay, all good. Fine. So we'll move forward. So we were talking about waterfall model, agile model, something that you have already seen in your curriculum. All right. Let me check if any new questions. Okay, fine. Cool. We'll move forward. Now, something for the students. What are the different types of roles in an IT organization? All right. So I have already discussed, but I'll just give a refresher. Okay, there is a myth in the there is a myth in the world that if you're working for an IT organization, you're only a software developer. It is not so. All right. Let me clarify. There are various roles available in an IT organization. All right. And IT developer or a software engineer is only one of the roles that within the entire IT organization. Okay. So basically, it's like I am telling you what are the different type of career tracks that you can also choose as an IT. Let's say you're doing your BSc IT or your MCA or your BCA, whatever it is. Okay, or your BSc in computer science, whatever you're doing. Eventually, you will be working in an IT organization. So you have an option. It is not just that you can be an application developer. Okay, you can also be a product manager or a business analyst. You can also be a tester. You can also be an application support. So until now I have only discussed with you what an IT developer does, and that's something that you are also aware of, right? Now let me say what is a who is a business analyst or what is a product manager. Okay, so let's say you want to design a website or any application. All right, so you will have some requirements. Okay, the IT developer is never going to come to you and is going to ask you what is your requirement. Okay, there is a proper person who is going to ask you what is your requirement. So basically, and who is that person? That person is a business analyst. Okay, so what is a business analyst or a product manager doing? They are going to come to you. Okay, because you are the user of the application. Okay, they are going to come to you and they are going to ask you what are the features that you want. Okay, what are the different type, what is your website going to look like, any technology preference that you have, or in how much amount of time do you want this application. Okay, so all these questions, and based on these questions, what is a business analyst going to do? They are going to create task. So let's say if I come back to your website. Okay, I want to design the front page. So in the front page you have something like the logo part. Okay, then you have something in the bottom part where you're going to show all the quick links, right? So these are the different type of tasks. Let's say I want to design drop down. So creating a drop down is a task. Okay, and let's say I click on some option. Okay, it should take me to another page. So that is a task. So basically, what is a business analyst going to do? He's going to check all the requirements. Okay, and then what are they going to do is they are going to divide it into different type of task. Okay, now what a developer is going to do is he will see all the tasks available. Okay, he is going to check what are the tasks available, and then what they are going to do is they are going to pick up tasks based on the order of priority. Like I said in Agile, we are going to check with you what is your MVP, what is your most important task that you want us to do. Okay, so based on the priority, the developer is going to perform the dev based on whatever the task is higher priority. I do the development. Then there is, now once I've done the development, I need to be sure that the application or the feature is working fine. All right, so I will basically hire a QA analyst or a tester. Now what is a tester going to do? Tester is only going to check your application. Okay, so let's say you have promised that you will design the front page. Okay, so let's say on clicking of this option, I load this page. Okay, so if I'm loading this page, I want to see, is all the information required available over here? Is the click working fine? Am I getting any error? Okay, is this what the user had asked for? All these things a tester is going to basically test. Okay, and let's say once the testing is fine, okay, then the next step is putting it up on the internet. Now, what is putting it up on the internet? Anyone over here has ever published a website on the internet? Anyone over here? Okay, I think, okay, there I'm getting some response. Okay, no. Okay, so I'll just give you an idea. What happens is, basically what happens is that, let's say I've developed the application. Now I want everyone in the internet to use it, right? So basically, first of all, what you have to do is you will have to go to a domain provider. Okay, he will give you a domain. So let's say I want to put this website on the internet. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I will have to go to a public domain provider. He will give me a domain. Let's say sahyogcollege.com is a domain that you want. So whenever user types on sahyogcollege.com on Google, you want them to come on to this website. Okay, so first you will buy a public domain. Okay, now once you have bought the public domain, then what you're going to do is you are going to put this website or this application on a physical server. Now basically, what is a physical server? Physical server is nothing but your compute. It is like a computer, but very high specification. So let's say your now everyone in the chat is like, let's say high specification server. What do you think by high specification server? Let's say your application is 8 GB. All right, the server where you're going to put this application, at least because anyone on the internet can use it, and at a time you can have 100 users using the application or 500 people using the application, right? So anyone, so can you say that your 8 GB RAM is able to handle your application? Can you guarantee that? It is not going to do that, let me tell you right away. Okay, so you need a system which is very high specification. All right, I think Milind has raised his hand. Any questions, Milind? Okay, fine. No questions. So any person, so I understand that, okay, I have a physical, I need a very high specification physical server. So what should be the physical specification? Just to give you an idea, a server, okay, which is hosting websites, the RAM minimum generally is around 40 GB. All right, you use a 4 GB RAM or a 8 GB RAM computer, okay, or an i5 processor, but trust me, it is not enough to handle a traffic of 100 people, 1,000 people, or 1 lakh people. Let me tell you that. Okay, so I have just given you a RAM specification. Now let's talk about hard drive. On your physical system or your laptop or on your computer, the amount of hard disk drive space you will be having is 1 terabyte, 1 TB. Okay, I am talking about a physical server which goes in 10 petabytes. Now you must have not even heard about petabytes. Okay, it's like you can say 10 to the power 3 or 10 to the power 4 of terabytes. Okay, that is the amount of memory I'm talking about when you talk about physical servers. So that is the amount of infrastructure that you need to host a website. Now, two options: you can have your own physical server, or what you can do is you can basically go to some server provider who is going to basically host your website for you. Okay, so those are things. Now once you host the website, you have to constantly monitor, is it working fine, is there any security issue? Okay, is my website down or is it up and running? If I Google search, am I able to load the application? Think about a scenario: you give your friend your college website, okay, and somehow the website is not able to load. Yeah, it is like a it is like a domain provider. So if you want a specific domain for your website, GoDaddy is like your domain provider that you want. Okay, that is not giving you the physical server. Physical server is something that you are given, that is some other company that will do that. You are just getting a domain like sahyogcollege.com via GoDaddy. Okay, so it is just giving you a .com domain provider. Okay, why does sites crash sometime? Okay, so let's say for some reason your application, your system hangs or your laptop hangs. At the end of the day, it's a device. It is a device, right? Now, what happens? Let's say someday, someday the physical server goes down. Can that also happen? Because that is also a machine, right? What if there is some problem with the machine? Or what if there is some maintenance operation going on with the machine? Just like you are updating your laptops, can I say you can also update your physical servers? That can also happen. So there is some maintenance operation going on, right? So for those operations as well, there are chances that because the server is going maintenance, that is the reason why your site is crashing. Okay. I'll give you another example. Let's say you have a daily traffic of 100 people on your website. Okay. So you put it up on a server which can handle 100 people. I mean, you have specifications to handle only 100 people because you have that only specification ka physical server. Now what happens is suddenly during the admission process, or let's say during the result day, you have 10,000 people accessing your application. A website whose server is able to handle only 100 people, what if it handles 10,000 people at a time? Don't you think it is going to crash? Yes, exactly. Overload. So that is what happens. So one option is you will have to scale up your server. You will have to buy a bigger server. Okay. Or second option is you can go to some service provider who will give you a physical server and you don't have to buy a physical server. Okay. So we will discuss about that. I have a topic called as cloud computing where I'm going to discuss all that topic, how to scale your server and who can you approach to scale your server and so on and so forth. Okay. But keep this question in mind about this overload thing. Why does a site crash and everything? I am going to discuss that a bit later. All right. Very soon. Until now, any questions? So these are the different type of roles that you have in the IT organization. Any question related to the roles that you have? Okay. Any questions? If no questions, we can move forward. Okay, no questions, right? So yeah, so basically these are the different type of things that you can, different type of roles that you can take. It is not just an IT developer you can be. Let's say you have good communication skills. Let's say you understand problems, okay, people and their problems. You can be a business analyst. Let's say you are not good at developing software, but you are very good at testing software or reviewing products. Okay, you can be a tester. Okay, let's say you don't want to be in the IT, you don't want to do the development process, but you are okay with managing how the application is working. Okay, is it working fine? Is there any traffic? Monitoring the traffic. Is the website up and running? You can be an application supporter. Okay, so these are different type of roles you can use. Sir, in cloud server, data are stored in cloud or in physical server. Don't worry, I have a topic. If I just move a bit forward, I have this topic where I am going to discuss about cloud computing. Okay, but for now, just hold your questions. We are going to go there. All right. Now, so this was about roles in IT. Now let's move further to the next topic, which is called as DevOps. Okay, a lot of people don't know basically what is a DevOps engineer. People tell me, come to me and tell me that they want to be a DevOps engineer, but when I ask them what is DevOps, they don't know what is DevOps. Okay, and I think because you are coming fresh out of college, you might also not be aware of what is DevOps. It's fine, but it is a term that is very up and new in the market. So if you understand the software development process over here, okay, developer and support are not talking to each other. If you see, okay, so if I can use certain type of tools with which I can do operations task or support task without the need of an application support, okay, or if during my entire development process I have some tools which can help me with my development process, So those things come under DevOps. If I have to place it in very simple words, okay, DevOps is not a tool, by the way, it is a practice. It is like, if I can use some technology, or if I can use something which is going to help me with my development, or which is going to help me with my support, okay, during my planning phase, during my coding phase, during my testing phase, during my, so when I say deploy is basically putting it up on the internet, if I say, okay, in this entire process, if I have something which is going to help me or enable me develop or design something faster, okay, or if I have any tool or if I have any technology, that comes under DevOps. All right. So basically, DevOps is a combination of development and operations. And the only aim of DevOps is basically to shorten the software lifecycle or facilitate in automation of the software lifecycle. All right. I see some chat. Yes, exactly. DevOps is a methodology. It's a practice. Okay. It's not a tool. Yes, there are DevOps tools, but at the end of the day, we are using the tools because we want to basically try to facilitate the software lifecycle management. Okay. We want to automate the software development process. Let's say I don't want the physical interference of a QA. I have a short project where I don't need QA. Let's say I will design some set of test cases, and every time I develop, I just need to run the test cases, and if the test cases work fine, I am good to go. I don't need a tester. I have a very small project, I don't need a tester, let's say. Or let's say I have a very small website, and the traffic is not more than 10 or 15 or 100 in a year or in a month, well, let's say. Okay. So I don't need to specifically hire an application support just to keep on checking, oh, is my application working fine or not, right? So I can use DevOps tools to help me with that process. Okay, facilitate my software management. All right. So that is what we were talking about in DevOps. So now what are the different DevOps tools? Okay, again, like I said, DevOps is not a tool. It is a practice with which you can, with which you want to facilitate the software lifecycle. And if you're using a tool, you're basically trying to serve the purpose of DevOps. Okay. So there are different DevOps tools. I think you must, so like Git, Jenkins, Autosys, Jira, cloud computing, okay, Jenkins. So you have something called as a like, SVN. So you have different type of tools to do that. But right now, since you have not started working, i will I will not dive into different topics that are not relevant to you. I will give you a basic idea about what is Git. Okay. So Git is a development tool for managing my software code. So let's talk about Git. Anyone over here who has used Git or GitHub, anything? Anyone over here has a GitHub account? Anyone? Okay, Shivam is saying yes. Jacob is saying yes. Sakshi is saying yes. Okay. Why are you using Git? Why do we use Git? Or why we use GitHub? Or are we learning GitHub or are we learning Git? What should we learn? Version control. Okay, version control. That is one of the features of Git. Anything else? Hosting platform, repository. GitHub is repository. All right. Correct, not wrong. It is correct. GitHub is a repository. So should you learn Git or should you learn GitHub? Git. You learn how to work well in a development team environment, which is why you use Git. Okay, both. Actually, not both. We have to only learn Git. Okay. So a lot of people have Git over here, and there are also a set of people who are not using Git. So let me give you a problem statement. Okay. You are working in your final year project. Okay. Yeah, we can collaborate with others. Yes. Let me give you an example now. Why you can use Git. All right. So yes, Git is a source software version control system. It is helping you with your code management. Yes. But why should I learn Git? You can contribute to open source. Okay. I'll give you a use case. So first we'll try to understand why we should use Git. I will give you a use case. Okay. You're working on your final year project. Okay. So in your final year project, you're working in a team of 2 to 3 people, right? So let's say if you're working on a team of 2 to 3 people, and let's say now you have something called as Corona. Okay. Last year, 2020, you were in the middle of a pandemic. Okay. You cannot meet your friends. You are at your own house. Your friends are at your own house, and you want to work on a final year project. Okay. Now, how are you going to develop software together? That is the question. Or how are you going to share your software or your application code? Is the question. Okay. So is it one person who's going to work on the application, or is it like two or all your friends in the team who are going to work on the application together? Your entire team, right? But you are sitting in remote locations. One is sitting in Andheri, one is sitting in Thane, one is sitting in Pune, because pandemic and people can't meet each other. Okay. So how are you going to share code, or how are you going to work together on the same code is the question. Now, some people will tell me that, hey, I can share via pen drive, but to send the code via pen drive, I need to meet the person, right? Okay. Let's not talk about Git, some other option. Okay. Google Drive. Yes, you can create a zip file and you can, share it on Google Drive with your friends. I think this is how you have done that. But yeah, that is one of the ways. But tell me, uh, are you can you send all the libraries also on Google Drive? Imagine the time to upload all your data on Google Drive. Yeah, cloud. When I say cloud, basically it is Google Drive only. Google Drive, what is Google Drive? It is a type of cloud service, that where you have different unlimited amount of memory and you can share your data, right? So another option is Google Drive. Okay. But what if I tell you there is something, there is a proper application, or there is a proper tool, okay, which can help you with your software management or software lifecycle management. Okay. There is a proper tool with which with where you can just send a set of simple commands. Okay. And with those commands you can share your code with any person on the internet. Any person on the internet. Okay. So Git is one such tool with which, if you want, I am working on an application, let's say I'm working on one specific feature. Okay. So I can work on that feature and I can share that feature code or that feature with anyone on the internet. Okay. Let's say I've just worked on the feature. I can simply push that code. I can simply push that code, and anyone on the internet can use can use my code, or can access my code. At the same time, those people can also contribute to my to my code. So let's say this is one person working in Mumbai. This is one person working in Thane. Okay, so I basically try to work on my application. I'm basically working on some feature. Okay, so I work on the feature and I put it up on GitHub. Okay. Now this person can always basically log into the website GitHub and can always check out the code and always check what all features have been implemented. At the same time, this person can also go back and try to contribute to the source code. Okay. So this is how people sitting anywhere remotely can work together, can work on the same application code. All right. Is it clear? Is it the purpose of Git clear? Any questions until now? Okay. So let me just, it will also take much time to upload. Yes, Google Drive is going to take a lot of time to upload, but in Git, it is not going to take a lot of time to upload. It is very instantaneous. Okay. So so there are some certain Git commands, all right, that I want to give you a demo of. Let's say you have never used Git. So I am going to give you a very small demo with all the important commands that you need to know. Okay. So let me open my browser. let's say you have something called as the, uh, so I have logged in onto my GitHub repo. Basically, GitHub is what is Git and what is GitHub? Now that is also a question. Git is a tool for your source code management. GitHub is an application giving you access to Git, or you access to your GitHub repositories. Okay, it is not like you can only create repositories with GitHub. There are various tools. Let me just show it to you. So you have something called as GitHub. Okay, you have something called as GitLab. You have something called as Bitbucket. You have something called as SVN. Okay, so these are the different type of tools that you can use for software code management that use Git internally. Okay, GitHub is not the only account that uses that is having a repository. You can create a repository on Bitbucket. You can create a repository on GitLab. You can create a repository on GitHub anywhere you want. It is like, let's say I want to share photos. Okay, now sharing photos is my objective. Okay, source code management is my objective. All right, but where I want to share photos, do I want to share photos on Facebook, or do I want to share photos on Instagram? That is my option, right? So I want to share code. Now for that I'm going to use Git, but where and which repository I want to use, okay, which application repository I want to use is my option. Whether I want to use GitLab, whether I want to use GitHub, whether I want to use Bitbucket, it is up to you. All right, so there is no hard and fast rule that I want to only use one thing and I don't want to use another thing. Okay, so we are basically trying to learn Git. We are not trying to learn GitHub. Okay, GitHub is just a repository, that's it. But what we are trying to learn is basically Git. Let me check some quick questions. Slack and Git are same or different? Slack is not Git. Okay, Slack is a messaging platform. Okay, if I want to share some sort of messaging, let's say I'm working in a team. All right, and within a team I have different type of groups. Like I have a software group, I have a tester group. Okay, and I want to collaborate. It is like a messaging service. Let's say WhatsApp. You create groups on WhatsApp, right? Similarly, in the corporate environment, if I want to have a messaging environment where I want to message in people about what is going on in the team, or if I want to give any updates, I can use Slack. Okay, and now Git is different. Git is for software code management. It is not messaging service. So Slack is a messaging service and Git is a source code repository, source code management tool. All right, any other questions? Okay, we'll move further. All right, so let's say I want to create a GitHub. I want to use GitHub. First of all, you will have to create a GitHub account. Creating a GitHub account is as simple as creating a Google account. Very simple. You just need to sign up, provide your basic information, and the moment you provide your basic information, you will have something like this. You have a GitHub repo. I created this repo recently. Yesterday I created, because I don't use GitHub. I use Bitbucket. So again, like I said, you have an option what to use. I use Bitbucket. You can use GitHub if you want. All right. So the moment I create a GitHub, create an account, this is what you see. All right, and this has various sections: issues, code. So this is going to mention all the different type of code that I have. Okay, now let's say I want to share some code with some other person on the internet. Okay, so let me first step that you have to do is install Git. Okay, so first you create a GitHub, and within the GitHub it will automatically give you a prompt. Do you want to create a repo, and what is the URL that you want to create? Okay, so step one is sign up for GitHub. Step two is create a repository. So I've already created a repository. The name is Karan9833 and demo. This is the name of the URL that I want to give. Okay, now what I have done is, the third step is set up and install Git. Okay, how to install Git? Do nothing, go to Google, check for Git. Okay, you get a first URL, you click on that website, and it will ask you to download. Okay, so over here, if you see, it is download for Windows. I click on that option. As soon as I click on that option, it is going to give me a download button. Okay, it is going to say, see your download is starting, and see it has given me a download. Okay, now once I've done this, I just need to click on next, 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 install. That's it. That is it. And your Git is installed. On my system, I've already installed Git, which is why I'm not installing it. But if you just click on it, it is going to give you an option to install Git on your system. All right. So it is going to open right now. It is going to take some time. But any which ways, it is not required for us because it is already installed in my system. So let's move forward. Okay. Okay. Now, how are we going to make the changes into Git? Okay. So let's say I go to my local drive, local system. 1 second. Is my screen? No. All right. Let me check now. Is my drive accessible? Is my drive visible? Yes. Okay. All right. Yes. Fine. So what I'm going to do is now, let's say I want to create a file. I want to create some, it can be anything. It can be a Java file, it can be a source code, or it can be a normal text file. Okay. So I am going to create a text file over here. Okay. Test Git. All right. I created a test file. Now what I do is testing Git repo. Okay. This is something I write on the file. Okay. Mind you, right now, I have only a test.txt file that I had already created some days back. Okay. I don't have this new file. I want to add this new Java file, or I want to add this new txt file onto my repository so that anyone on the internet can use it. Okay. So now I have made my changes. I have written my code. I have made my changes. Now I want to share it on the internet. What I do is I basically right click and I click on Git command line. Okay. My system is a bit slow. Apologies for that. Okay. So what I do is I right click and I open Git command file. Okay. You can simply go to command prompt and you can do that as well. Let me just clear it. I had already done this yesterday. Let me check if it's a bit slow or not. If it's a bit slow, then probably we might not have to do it. We won't be able to do it, but let's check. Okay. I'm trying to type, but it is all right. Everything is clear now. Okay. So what I'm basically trying to do is now I want to see, this is my local drive, C users public Git, where I have done my changes. Okay. I've added a new file. Now how to check what new changes I have done on my code or on my local drive. Okay. So I'm basically, what I'm going to do is I'm going to open command prompt up to this file location. Okay. And I'm going to write a simple command, git status. Git status is going to tell me what are the changes that I have done on my local file, local drive. Okay. So now it says that, okay, I have created a test.git.txt file. Okay. Now let's say I want to upload it on GitHub. All right. So what will I do? So first of all, before I upload it on GitHub, okay, I see some chats over here. Git add, exactly. So let's say I want to add this file onto my location. So I have a very simple command. It is going to be, let's say I want to upload it onto the local or onto my repository or my GitHub account. Okay. So there are 3 steps that you have to perform. Okay. Git add. 1 second. I'll go back to the command. There are 3 steps that you'll have to perform. One is git add. Okay. Then you have git commit and git push. 3 steps. Okay. So what happens is git add, if I have to very simplify things, okay, Git add is going to add the files that you want to put it on the GitHub account. Okay, I will say it as a remote repository. Your remote repository can be anything. It can be Bitbucket, it can be GitHub, it can be SVN, it can be GitLab, anything. Okay, it doesn't matter. So that is your remote repository that is available somewhere on the internet. Okay, so I am using Git add. Now, what happens is Git maintains two copies. Okay, one is your remote copy and one is your local copy. Okay, so let's say tomorrow for some reason your system crashes. Okay, you still have data on your local repo. Okay, local repository. So which is why you have something called as a local repo and you have something called as a remote repo. So let's say tomorrow remote repo crashes, you have local repo copy. Let's say local repo is corrupted, you can take it from the remote repo. Okay, which is why you have a concept of local repo and a remote repo. All right, clear with that? Okay, git add is not going to add it to the local repo. No, it is just to mention the file names that you want to add to the local repo. It has not added to the local repo. Okay, clear with that? It is only mentioning the files that you want to add to the local repo, but it has not added to the local repo, which is why you have something called as a staging area. Okay, so when you say git add, it is adding to the staging area. It has not added to the local repo. All right. All right. Okay. Now I have mentioned the files that I want to add to the local repo. Okay. But I need to push the files to the local repo as well, right? So you have a command called as git commit. All right. And once you have done with the git commit, then if you want to push it to the remote repo, you have something called as git push. Clear with that? Let me give you a quick demo. Okay, because we are slightly running short on time. So I have git status. Okay, so it will give me what are the different files that have been changed or modified or added. Okay, now what I'll do is if I want to add it to the remote repo, I will use git add. Mind you, it is only mentioning that I want to add this file to the remote repo, local repo. It has not added yet. So let's say I want to add this file. Okay, so I will do git commit -m. Okay, you can put any comment that you want. Okay, testing commit, any comment that you want. So now when I do git commit, it is in the local repo. It has not been pushed to the remote repo. Now let's say I want to push it to the remote repo. So what I will do, git push origin space master. Okay, I click on enter. Now what it is going to do is, this command should ideally, what it should do is, it should push all my changes to the remote repository. All right. So now let's go back to the browser. Right now, if you see, there is only test.txt, which I had added yesterday. Okay. Now, if I click on refresh, if you see, I have test.get.txt. Okay. So now this file has been uploaded onto the internet, onto my GitHub repo. All right. Tomorrow, I can share my GitHub repo, okay, to anyone in your team, software team, or in your final year project team, and they can access your code. All right. At the same time, let's say you want to share the code with your professor. Just share your GitHub account details, or just share your GitHub repo and give access to your GitHub repo. They will be able to check the code. All right. And if you can notice, if I open this file, testing git repo, it has all the changes. All right. Any questions until here for Git? Any questions? Did you understand the concept of one second? Did you understand the concept of your local directory, your local repository, and your remote repository? Okay. Git add is going to mention the changes that you want to add to your local repo. Git commit is going to push it to your local repo, and git push command is going to push it to the local remote repository or your GitHub account, and that can be anything. Okay, clear with this? Okay, if you want to learn more about Git, trust me, you must have seen Git is very easy to learn. If the file location is changed, the file location on the GitHub account is also changed. Okay, so you don't have to worry about that. Let's say you are changing file location, it will be changed on the file location on the GitHub account as well. Any other questions? Okay, uh, let's say, so these are the basic commands that you will definitely use, and you must have realized Git is very easy. You don't have to copy things on Google Drive, create a zip file, share on Gmail accounts, share on pen drive. Okay, you can simply use Git, and everyone should use Git. If you're a developer, you should be using Git for software code management. And there are a lot of other features, not just code management. I can review your code. Okay, if your code is good enough or not, if your code has any good practices or not, I can check that using Git repository as well. All right. So there are a lot of other features. There's a concept of branching. Okay, there's a concept of creating deployables. So there are a lot of other features, which is why we use Git. Something right now is not relevant because we're working on a very basic concept right now of Git. But yeah, there are a lot of other reasons why as well why we are using Git in the IT industry as well. All right. Any other questions, or we'll move forward? What to choose, by the way? If you want to choose, honestly, you can choose anything, because if you're sharing a project, if you're creating a open repo, okay, it is almost free wherever you go. Okay, but let's say you're creating a private repo. Let's say you're an organization and you're creating a private repository, which you can share with only set of people. Okay, in a company, then probably you'll have some costing. Otherwise, it is more or less free if it is open source. Okay. Any other questions, or can we move forward? Any questions from any staff or any student? Please feel free. Okay, we'll move forward. Okay, so the next concept is called as cloud computing. Okay, I want to understand what is your idea of cloud computing and why cloud computing. Anyone in the chat, please let me know. Can anyone explain what is cloud computing and why do you think you need cloud computing right now, and why there is a move to cloud computing? Anyone, or we can move forward? By the way, any doubts until here? It has easy access for all. Yes, like Git. What is your Git repo? Git repo is basically a cloud, okay, where you have your data, right? And anyone on the internet can access your data, right? Sir, what is Bitbucket? Bitbucket is like GitHub only. It is just an account for sharing code. So let's say your GitHub is like an account where you have a repository, code repositories where you can create code repositories. It is exactly like that only, but just a different company. That's it. Things which can't run on device, we can store on cloud easily. No, not like that. You can use that on any device. It's not like, I want to understand what is cloud. What do you mean? What do you mean by cloud computing? You must have come across it in your curriculum somewhere. Things which can't run on your device, we can run it on cloud easily. No, it is not like that. If you can't run it on your own device, maybe okay. You can say that. Okay, if you are able to handle traffic, yeah. Your previous example, yes. Okay, let's first try to understand why cloud computing. All right. So we have our next slide. If you notice over here, AWS, Azure, Google Cloud. Yes, these are the different type of cloud providers. Yes. Let's move forward first. Let's say we were talking about that initial example that we had talked a few slides earlier, right? So I have something called as an application. I want to host it on the internet. Okay. First is you create a domain. Second is you need to put this application or install this application on some physical server, right? Now you have two options. One, you buy your own physical server based on your requirement. Okay. And you put it and you install that application on your physical server. Okay. That is one option. Now, let's say you go with this option. What is going to happen? You will have to manage the physical server. You will have to maintain the physical server. You will have to do the regular updates. You will have to do the regular security updates as well. You will have to check for the security. Let's say tomorrow I want to upgrade the application. Let's say it is a basic application which has only 100 users at a time, and now you're expecting like some 1 lakh users from now onwards. Okay, so you'll have to upgrade as well. So you'll have to buy more servers. Let's say today only one server is working fine for you because you are only 100 users. Now you have to scale it up. You want 100 users. Okay, let's take an example of Flipkart. All right, Flipkart generally, let's say gets about a lakh users. It is definitely more than that, but let's say it works gets a lakh users a day. Now big billion day comes. Do you think the traffic is going to be a lakh users a day, or is it going to be more than a lakh? It is definitely going to be more than a lakh, 10 times more than that, right? Something on the chart. Yes, definitely more. It's definitely going to be more than that. So let's say you buy your own physical server just for big billion day. Just for big billion day, will you buy 100 servers to handle a traffic of 100 million people? And what after big billion day? Do you require those many amount of servers? You definitely don't need those many amount of servers for the other time of the year, right? Okay. And by the way, when I talk about a normal laptop with 8 GB RAM and core, let's say Core i5 processor or Core i9 processor, and so latest specification, it is going to cost you somewhere around a lakh. Think about a server which has 40 GB RAM, okay, with a very high clocking frequency, with some petabytes of hard disk space. Do you think it is going to cost you some 1 lakh or 2 lakh? It is probably going to be way more expensive, right? So should you buy 100 servers only for big billion day? Of course no, right? So one option was you buy your own physical server. Second option is you go to some cloud provider. Okay, you go to some cloud provider and you ask them, hey, can you rent me a physical server and I will pay you for the amount of time I am using a physical server. Let's say you have an option where a cloud provider tells you that, let's say you want to use a physical server. Don't worry, I will give you all the physical servers you need. Let's say you want 100 servers, I am going to give you 100 servers. All right. In return, I only want you to provide, I only want you to pay for the amount of time you are providing the servers. I as a cloud provider, let's say I am Google, or let's say I'm Microsoft Azure, or let's say I'm Amazon Web Services. These are the different cloud providers, all right? They tell you, I am going to provide you the physical servers or the amount of space required by you. Okay. In return, you just need to spend or just need to pay for the amount of time you are going to use my physical servers. Okay. You want security, I am going to do the security for you. Okay. You want a good amount of memory, I'm going to provide the good amount of memory for you. You want to do the maintenance, I'm going to do the maintenance for you. You just have to pay, and I am going to look after the servers on my side. You don't have to worry about that. So would you choose that option? Of course you're going to choose that option, right? So that is why people are moving to cloud. Okay. What is cloud? Cloud is nothing but, it is nothing but a physical server only, but it is hosted somewhere on the internet. And let's say I am a cloud provider, so I have all the servers, I have bought all the servers for you. Okay. You just need to pay that, okay, I want 100 servers, I want 20 servers with this configuration, and I want to host my website on this server. Okay. I am only going to do that to you. I am only going to ask you, give me your application. I am going to host that application for you on the servers. Okay. And I just need your payment, I need nothing else. the maintenance, the security updates, everything. Okay, ensuring that your application is working on the cloud properly. All that, as a cloud provider, I am going to do that for you. So, which is why we are moving to cloud computing. Basically, what is cloud computing? It is nothing but a physical server which is giving you the flexibility to host your application on that physical server. You don't have to buy that physical server, or you don't have to buy that memory, or you don't have to buy that computing power of that high-end processor. I am going to do that for you. That is cloud computing. Any questions until now? Any questions? No. Okay. So we were discussing about different types of so the use case, why cloud computing, the benefits of cloud computing. You can easily upgrade. Let's say Flipkart wants, there is a big billion day, and Flipkart wants to upgrade the servers because it does not meet so much of traffic generally. Now let's say there is a big billion day and you're expecting a lot of users, right? So you can simply go to the cloud provider and tell them that, okay, I have these and these days, and I am expecting a huge amount of traffic. So can you upgrade your servers only for the 2 days or 3 days? It is possible with cloud. Imagine you did not have cloud. You would have to buy all the physical servers only for the 2 days. What is a better approach? Just renting the servers or buying the servers? Think about it, right? Second is low cost of ownership because you are not owning it. You are renting the amount of time for using the servers. Security threats can be an advantage or disadvantage. Okay. So if I am a cloud provider, okay, if I am a cloud provider, it is my responsibility to look after the security threats. Okay. It is not your responsibility. Think about it. You are designing a website. Should you think about the security of your website, or should you think about the features that are given by your website as a developer? You, what will you think? I want to think about the features that I'm giving with my website. I should not be thinking about the security, right? Who is going to look after it? The cloud provider. So if it's a Microsoft Azure, or if it's a Google Cloud, or if it's an Amazon Web Service, they are going to look after the security. And generally, they provide a document before you buy the cloud service. They give you a document where they mention that we are giving you almost 98 to 99% security. Okay. So yeah, you can always upgrade your system. You have low cost of ownership. You have disaster assistance because you are not looking up. Let's say the servers are down, so you don't have to analyze. You just have to make a call, or you just have to mention the cloud service providers, and they are going to check that. And by the way, the chances of disaster is less because they have cloud providers generally have a lot of, I would say, backups and backups of backups, because this is their own business. What is their business? Providing physical servers. Okay. So if this is their business, they have to ensure that they are the best at it, right? So they try to have backups and backups of physical servers, which is why the chances of a disaster is less. Okay. No maintenance cost, yes, because you don't have to maintain the physical servers. The cloud provider is maintaining the physical servers for you. All right. Next up is the different types of clouds available. Okay. So someone was mentioning about security threat, right? Okay. So let's say I am Netflix. Okay. Netflix or Amazon Prime. All right. I don't want my data to be, or let's say I'm a bank and I have all the account information. All right. So I don't want my account details to be visible to anyone can see, because see, it is a technology. All right. So anywhere, and there is no such technology which is not hackable, to be honest. Okay. Anyone can hack any type of technology. So there are different types of cloud services available. Let's say I am a bank and I have all the account information. All right. So I don't want that information to be accessible anywhere. Okay. So what I can choose is I can choose for a private cloud. So basically, I am choosing a physical server where only my application is installed or hosted. No other application is hosted. So because no other application is hosted other than my application, okay, there is no chance that someone can access my cloud. Okay, so that is one type of private cloud. Now let's say I want a cloud where I'm okay with people seeing my data. Okay, because it is a simple application. I can go for a public cloud. Public cloud is basically a cloud where you have a physical server, and in that physical server, you have different applications, not just your application, different applications available on the same cloud or on the same physical server. All right. Of course, if you have a public cloud, it is going to be cheaper, and if you have a private cloud, it is going to be a slightly costlier. Now the lower part, which is your hybrid cloud or your community cloud, it is a combination. Let's say I want my application code to be public, but my data to be private. Okay, so you can choose a combination where your data is placed in a private cloud, okay, but your application is in a public cloud. Okay, so that is the different type of cloud models or cloud deploy services that you can access. All right, and we were talking about the different type of cloud providers. So right now the most popular one is Amazon Web Services. Okay, it has been there since the start. It was the first one actually to do start cloud services. Okay, then came Azure. Okay, Azure is the second best, and third is Google Cloud Platform. And these are the other platforms available from other sources like Salesforce, Oracle. They have their own cloud services as well. You can choose whatever cloud services you want. All right. So that was about cloud. Cool. I am done with my presentation, what I wanted to present today. Do you have any questions on your end? And it can be anything. It can be ranging from anything. What is microservice? Okay. I was planning to do a short demo on microservices, but actually, the thing is, it is not relevant. But let me just give you an idea. Let's say you have, let me create a UI. Okay. Let's say you have something called as, let's say you're developing an application. All right. Which cloud services does Flipkart use? Amazon Web Services, by the way. Okay. Uh, and actually, the most popular one is Amazon Web Services. So if you think about Myntra or you think about Flipkart, they are definitely using Amazon Web Services. Okay. So it is like saying that Flipkart is using Amazon, okay, services, and which is an Amazon company, and Amazon itself is a competitor to Flipkart. But let me tell you, Amazon is not just a retail company. Okay, now Amazon has grown, and the retail website is just one of the business that Amazon does. Okay, and it is not even constituting the 10% of their business. Actually, retail business, Amazon is now into audiobooks. Amazon is into, you have Amazon Prime. All right, then you have Amazon Web Services, which is a cloud platform. So Amazon has moved into different types of businesses, and it has grown. It is not just a retail website now. It has different types of services available. All right, whereas Flipkart is only doing retail. Okay, only retail, no other service. So you can say that, when you think about Amazon, Amazon is a giant where retail is one of the business. Okay, and Flipkart is like a small retail company when you compare it with Amazon. All right. So yeah, yes, Amazon, Flipkart does use Amazon Web Services. Okay, someone was mentioning about microservice. Okay, so basically, what is microservice? I have a slide just in case people understand. Okay, if I write a application, how am I writing the application? I am going to write the UI code. Okay, I am going to write the server code. Okay, and the UI is going to interact with the server, and the server is going to interact with the database. All right, so that is the general way of writing code. Now, what is this style of writing? This style of writing is called as monolithic architecture. Okay, where everything is part of one package. Now, what is the problem over here? The problem is, let's say I add a small feature. Okay, do you think I have to test the entire application? Yes, right? because all of this is part of one package. Okay. So let's say I design a drop down over here. I simply design a drop down over here. Okay. So a simple drop down, addition of a simple drop down, I have to test the entire application. Just think about the amount of time to test the entire application just for adding a simple drop down. Okay. So, and why is this problem happening? Because your software is tightly coupled. Okay. You have UI code, you have your database code, you have your Java code or your backend code, everything as part of one package. Okay. What if I keep the UI same. Okay. But let's say I want to fetch student information. All right. So I create a service, a small Java code, separate, independent Java code. Okay. Which is only going to manage student information. Okay. Let's say I create a small service, independent service, not part of the same package, independent service. Okay. Which is only going to work on the, you can say, the front page, only going to fetch the information for the front page. Let's say I am going to create a small service, which is independent service, which is only going to fetch the, you can say, your fees information or your exam timetable information. Okay. So basically creating independent units, okay, is called as microservice. Now, what is the advantage of this style of architecture? Okay, tomorrow, let's say I create a small student information service. Okay, I only need to test the one service. I don't need to test all of this because these are independent. These are not part of the same package. So basically, it is like I have created 4 different applications, but they are connected to one application via the UI. Okay. So UI is making independent calls to different applications, and those different applications have your different independent code. Okay. So that is basically microservices style of architecture, which is generally popular now, because what happens is people want application as fast as possible. People want features as fast as possible. So you have to reduce the amount of testing efforts, or you have to reduce the amount of dependencies, right? Which is why we have microservices style of architecture. Any other question? Can you tell something about Flexbox? Flex, basically, like which is better, CSS Grid or Flex? Honestly, Flex is legacy. Okay, it is going. It has already gone. Let me be honest. No one out there is using Flex, so it is better that you have a CSS Grid and not and use. In fact, you should stop learning Flex altogether. It is not going to be used anymore. Uh, I mean, knowledge never goes waste, but honestly, it is never going to be used now. It is legacy now. Any other questions? No questions. It means people have understood everything. All right. So that's it on my end. Okay. Thank you for being a patient audience. Okay. Okay. And really, thank you for trying to find time so that I could present my topic. Okay. In case you have any questions, or if you have want any type of counseling or any type of questions, anything you have, even after the seminar, you can always contact me. My name is Karan Rai. Okay. So you can contact me on LinkedIn. You can contact me on Instagram. You can contact me anywhere on any social media platform. I can always help you with any type of counseling. Let's say if you have a career counseling on let's say what domains I can get into, or what are the different type of fields I can, or I want to talk about, let's say full stack. Okay. Or what are the different type of technologies that you want to learn and where to learn those things. Okay. I can provide you with the resources. I can help you with that. But generally, I would suggest, your search is just one Google search away. Your learning is just one Google search away. All right. Everything. So yeah, but still, if you have any questions, you can always text me. Fine. Any other questions right now? Cool. Yeah, we can wind up.
Thank you so much, sir. So, for explaining things so well and in detail. I must say that all the participants have understand and learned many things from this session.
I hope so.
Yes, sir. So now I would request Professor Miss Shweta Raurani ma'am to deliver a vote of thanks.
Thank you, Sai Shubham. Firstly, on behalf of Sayo College of Management Studies, I would like to thank Karan sir for giving such a wonderful presentation. It like I must say that all the participants must have gathered some or the other knowledge regarding the current IT trend. Once again, thank you. I would also like to thank all the participants for patiently listening to this seminar. Uh, yeah, thank you everyone. Lastly, I would like we'll wind up over here. I'll
Thank
end
you,
the
ma'am.
session. Yeah,
Thank you, ma'am. With
yes.
this, we are coming to the end of the today's session. You'll get all the latest information of such webinars and courses on our college website, which is www.sayucollege.com and Sayuk College of IT and Management.com. So do visit our website and subscribe our YouTube channel for latest updates. We also have a shared counseling form and feedbacks form in the chat box. So kindly give your valuable feedbacks. Thank you. With this, we'll end our today's session. Thank you so much and have a great day.